Welcome to our overview of the updated incentives payment process. It's now 2 p.m., so let's get started. My name is Neil DeMello, and I'm the support manager for the Inerva and Summerhill team. Inerva and Summerhill are supporting Emissions Reduction Alberta with the design and execution of the Energy Savings for Business program. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, let's go over a few housekeeping items. As we have quite a few people attending today's webinar, all microphones have been muted to avoid interruptions. If you have a question during the presentation, we welcome you to submit them to our team through the control panel. We'll address those questions and the ones submitted at the time of registration during the Q&A session. Lastly, please note that the webinar is being recorded and we will post it onto the ESP program website on the program resources page. The recording will include both the presentation and the Q&A period for your convenience. We'll begin today's webinar with a quick update on the progress of the ESP program, including an overview of the recent changes. We will then give you an overview of the updated incentives payment process, including the changes made to the process and the timeline for the new system launch. We'll also provide step-by-step instructions on how to complete this stage of the program. The presentation will end with a Q&A period. As mentioned before, we encourage you to submit your questions during the presentation, and we will do our best to answer them during this time. Today, Luca Jungin, ERA's Program Manager, will provide an update on the progress of the program. Then, Myron Srikantha from the Inerva Summerhill team will jump in to guide us through the incentives payment process. Now let's get right into it. Here's Luca to kick off today's presentation.
Thanks, Neil. The Energy Savings for Business program has been part of the province's response to help businesses navigate the challenges they face during these extraordinary times. The program provides much needed economic stimulus, is helping get people back to work, and demonstrates Alberta's continued commitment to being a leader in sustainable resource and energy use. We've received a great interest in the ESP program so far. Since our launch earlier this year, we've granted pre-approvals to over 1,000 projects worth over $21.5 million in incentives. Just last week, we announced program changes that will give companies more time and opportunities to invest in energy savings technologies. These changes include extending the Energy Savings for Business program to 2023 and raising the incentive limit for parent companies from $500,000 to $1 million. Our program team will accept post-project applications until March 31st, 2023, and all pre-approved projects must be constructed and teams must submit their post-project application by the state. Please carefully consider the time you'll need to finish your project, as we cannot grant extensions past the March 31st, 2023 deadline. As a reminder, all projects receive a default completion deadline of 6 months. ERA will consider extension requests on a case-by-case basis for CHP, ground source heat pump, waste energy recovery, based on the organic ranking cycle, or larger HVAC projects that may need more time to complete construction. Please review essential submission deadlines in our latest program notice. We encourage you to keep submitting applications. There's plenty of funding available, and standard applications can see turnaround times as quick as 5 days. We're excited to support companies like yours, the ones that carry out projects that will leave a positive impact on your clients, help save money, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions over the coming years. To better support all participants and contractors, the ESP support team launched Application Assist over the summer. This new service makes applying to the ESP program easier than ever. Application Assist has helped contractors and participants submit large and complex projects like multi-measure applications, and have helped participants and contractors during their first application, making every future application smoother to submit. Here's how it works. First, reach out to our contact center team and let them know you'd like to connect with the Application Assist team. They can help you regardless of your application size or complexity. Next, the Application Assist team will reach out to you, set up a meeting, and help you build your application step by step. They'll walk through your project, help identify eligible measures, and collect and organize the information you need using templates and resources. Last but not least, submit your application. At this point, you'll have everything you need to quickly submit your application to the program portal. The Application Assist team will still be available to answer any questions you may have along the way. I'm now going to hand it over to Myron, who will provide some quick tips for applications.
Thanks, Luca. Before moving on to the incentive payment process, we wanted to take the opportunity to provide some helpful tips to make the application process as easy as possible. So first of all, if you're unsure how to reply to your information request, contact our application assist team to set up an appointment at support@esbprogram.ca. Secondly, if you can't find your DLC ID for your lighting application, you can find it on the DLC database. The link is on the slide in front of you, which will be posted on the website. Or you can enter just blank XXX into the application instead. If you do that, the review team will find the DLC ID for you during the review process. Thirdly, to speed up the review process, please circle your model number on the spec sheet before uploading it. This will really help the review team find that specific model and confirm that it's eligible. Finally, when submitting an application for a Windows or installation project, please enter 1 as the quantity and then the total square footage for the Windows or installation installed. Now let's move on to the updated incentive payment process.
Thanks, Myron. Myron and I will review the incentive payments process and provide context along the way. Let's get started. Myron, when does the incentive payment process begin?
It's a great question, Neil. The incentive payment process is the last step in the ESB program. At this point, your project has been completed and your post-project application has been approved for payment. As a reminder, please note that you assign the payee during the post-project application itself. So please make sure you confirm your payee before you submit the post-project application. For example, if you want to assign the incentive payment to your contractor, make sure you list them as the payee in the post-project application. Please also note you can only assign the incentive payment to yourself or to the eligible contractor listed on the application.
What happens after my application has been approved for payment?
So what happens after that approval is granted is it triggers a final financial confirmation, and also it starts the process to set up your electronic fund transfer. So once your application is approved, you'll receive an email prompting you to set up the transfer with instructions on how to do so.
So how does the payment actually work?
So the payment is an electronic funds transfer, or an EFT for short. This means it is automatically deposited in your bank account after the banking details have been confirmed. You don't need to accept anything or enter in a password. The money just gets directly deposited in that account.
Thanks, Myron. So how has the incentive payments process changed?
So with these new updates, the payments will now be initiated within the application portal itself. There's no need to use a third-party software anymore. By doing this and having it in the application portal itself, it should lead to a more streamlined and faster payment process, while still maintaining a very high level of security for transactions. Data security is a top priority for us, and the information will be encrypted and then destroyed after a certain period of time.
Can you tell us when this change will come into effect?
So the new payment process will be in place starting on October 22nd, 2021. That is our target date for launch. We will send an email out announcing when it goes live. Additionally, we'll post the supporting materials such as the guidebook and the FAQs on the ESB website at the same time.
Thanks, Myron. Now, let's go through the process step by step.
So with step 1, as I previously mentioned, the payment process will begin after you have received your post-project approval. On the home page of the program portal, you'll see the Payments tab, what's circled in black there on the screen. Please click on that tab specifically to get started. Then what you'll do is once you're on the Payments tab, you'll see a bunch of applications. Select the application that you want to start the payments process and click on Share Banking Details. When you click on Share Banking Details, it'll lead you to the following pop-up screen. This screen will let you know what banking information you'll need to submit. We'll go over this in the next slide. The pop-up screen, as you see on the screen in front of you, will also have a short list of conditions that you need to agree to and check off before you can proceed. So once you agree to those terms and check the checkboxes, you'll be prompted to enter your banking information. The name on the bank account should be the same as the name used in the customer contractor account, whoever you assigned as the payee during the post-project application. Then what you need to do is enter in the bank account number, the transit number, and the institution code. Finally, you'll be asked to upload a picture of a void check or a direct deposit form to confirm the banking details. After you've entered in that information and uploaded the picture of the void check or the direct deposit form, you can click Submit Details. If you want to go back to the previous screen, you can click Go Back. If you wish to exit, you can just click outside of that pop-up. Next, a summary of your banking information that you entered on the previous screen will be displayed. Please review this screen for accuracy before clicking Submit Details. If you want to change the details that you entered, please click Go Back. Then finally, after submitting your banking information, you will see a screen confirming your successful submission. You will then be taken back to the home screen and your payment request will be reviewed. If we notice that there's an issue with your request during the review period, we will prompt you to update the information. You will receive an email notification as well as see a status change in the application letting you know these changes need to be made. Here are a couple of factors that can cause some potential issues. So firstly, the name on the bank account number, or any of the information inputted does not match up with the void check or the direct deposit form provided. So for example, say I entered in Mine Shrikantha on the void check, but the name on the bank account is Enerva, then that would cause an issue, and then we would have to revise the banking details provided. Secondly, if there's a spelling mistake, that will also prevent the payment from going through. So for example, say on the void check, the name on it was John, John, but on the banking information it was Jon, then that would be a spelling mistake that would also prevent the payment from going through. If you are asked to make a change, you can do so by again clicking on the application in the payments tab, the black circle in front of you on the screen. You will then be taken back to the home screen and so after you click on that application, the way you have to revise the banking details, it will tell you the issue that was found as well as any additional notes. When you click on Revise Banking Details, it'll take you back to the screen we saw earlier where you enter in the banking information. Once you have revised your banking information, the application will be reviewed again. If you have any issues filling out the form or don't have the information required, please reach out to our contact center team. They can help answer any questions you have about the process. We will share their contact information at the end of the presentation. As I had previously mentioned, data security is a top priority, and the information will be encrypted and destroyed after a certain period of time. Before we move on to the Q&A, I do just want to review the different statuses you'll see on your application throughout the process. So you'll see the table on the screen in front of you. There's only a couple of these statuses where you have to do something, but I will describe all of them for you so that you know what they are. So if your status says incentives recommended, this means the post-project application has been reviewed and approved, and an email will be sent both to the applicant and the contractor to confirm the application has been approved. Next, when the payment process starts, you might see banking details pending. This means your banking details are needed, and an email will be sent to the payee outlining the need to enter the banking details. You might also see revised banking details, which indicates that after the review, there's been an issue that's been found and your banking details need to be revised. Again, an email will be sent to the payee outlining that these details need to be corrected. Once you've submitted your banking details, you will see the status banking details in review. That means that your banking details are currently being reviewed. The status incentive recommended approval pending means that the actual payment process is started and the funds are moving. When your payment has been approved, an email is sent to the applicant and contractor confirming that the payment approval and your status will change to incentive approved. Finally, the incentive payment in progress status indicates that the payment has been released and should be arriving within 5 to 7 days. An email with this information will be sent to the payee. And then after your payment has been received, the final status you'll see is incentive payment completed, meaning that the payment process has been completed, and an email will be sent to the payee as a confirmation that the funds have been deposited into the provided account.